Chinese netizens and various health experts have expressed doubts over China's low reporting of COVID related deaths in recent days as hospitals across the country are overwhelmed with fever patients and demand for cremation was rising at crematoriums and funeral homes. A number of COVID related deaths have been reported in Chinese media in recent days, but authorities have only reported 7 deaths since the loosening of COVID protocols on December 7. Long wait periods have been reported in Beijing for cremation. In the absence of any official COVID case count, news about surging infections spread rapidly through social media, and the same is happening with the COVID death counts as well as many netizens said they knew someone who died from COVID. According to the unofficial estimates, around 50% of Beijing population have been infected with the virus, and epidemiologists predict that around 60% of China's population might get affected in next few months, raising the fear of further mutations as China continues to grapple with the impact of abrupt loosening its zero COVID protocol without any preparation to tackle with its aftermath. Many models have predicted a death toll of about a million people in 2023. United States on Monday expressed concern that the toll of the virus is a global concern due to the size of Chinese economy, and it also might spawn new mutations of the virus. Some 200 million Americans are feeling the icy grip of a massive winter storm that has been linked to at least 19 deaths ahead of the holiday weekend. More than 1.5 million people lost power and thousands of flights were cancelled on Friday. The vast storm extends more than 2,000 miles from Texas to Quebec. A bomb cyclone, when atmospheric pressure plummets, has brought blizzard conditions to the Great Lakes on the US Canada border. In Canada, Ontario and Quebec were bearing the brunt of the Arctic blast with power cuts to hundreds of thousands. Much of the rest of the country, from British Columbia to Newfoundland, was under extreme cold and winter storm warnings. They fled south to escape winter. The US National Weather Service (NWS) said its Friday map depicts one of the greatest extents of winter weather warnings and advisories ever. Temperatures in Elk Park, Montana dropped to minus 45 degrees Celsius, while the town of Hell, Michigan has frozen over. Heavy snowfall was forecast in areas of Pennsylvania and Michigan. Buffalo, New York was expecting at least 89 centimeters. The National Weather Service reported 0 mile visibility there and posted video of whiteout conditions. More than 8 million people remained under blizzard warning, said National Weather Service. American Space Agency's Mars rover Perseverance will begin dropping samples of rock onto the surface of the red planet this week. According to media reports, the materials have been packaged in small titanium tubes with the expectation they can be picked up by a future mission and brought home. It is a major milestone in the quest to find out whether there is life on Mars. It is thought only by studying rock and soil samples in Earth laboratories can make the matter be resolved. Perseverance will place 10 cylinders on the ground at its exploration site in Jezero crater. They contain a mix of volcanic and sedimentary rocks that the robot has drilled over the past 15 months. There will also be examples of Martian soil and air. The first finger-sized tube should be in position very soon. The location for the drop is a flat piece of terrain that is being nicknamed Three Forks. This will make it easier for a future mission to land and recover the store. Ukraine called for Russia to be removed as a permanent member of United Nations Security Council. Ukraine calls on the member states of UN to deprive the Russian Federation of its status as a permanent member of UN Security Council and to exclude it from the UN as a whole, the Ukrainian foreign minister said in a statement. The statement said that Russia had illegally occupied the seat of USSR in the UN Security Council since the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991. From a legal and political point of view, there can be only one conclusion. Russia is a usurper of the Soviet Union's seat on the UN Security Council, the ministry added. 3 decades of its legal presence in the UN have been marked by wars and seizures of other countries' territories, the statement added. Ukraine Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said that the question of Russia's veto-wielding permanent seat in the UN Security Council, also held by United States, Britain, France and China, was already being discussed in the diplomatic circles. These issues are not yet discussed at press conference and in public statements by the leaders of the states and governments. But at a lower level, people are already asking the question what Russia should become like in order not to pose a threat to peace and security. He added, the powerful Security Council consists of 15 members tasked with tackling global crises by enacting sanctions, authorizing military action, and approving changes to the UN Charter. But the permanent five, who all carry veto power that can block any resolution, reflect the power dynamics at the end of World War II. Sri Lanka could face power cuts of 10 hours a day in January if sufficient coal does not arrive in time. State-run Ceylon Electricity Board's engineer union said the stock of coal is sufficient to produce electricity only till the year end. The president of the union said that about 45% of the power requirement of the island nation is being generated by the Noracholai power plant. At the same time, hydroelectric power cannot be used as it is the lean section till March. President added that the electricity board has received 5 out of 38 call ships that are expected by April next year. The call from the 6th ship is expected to reach the power plant by the 11th of January. With a delay in the arrival of the call, the plant will not generate enough power, necessitating power cuts of up to 10 hours a day. As COVID-19 cases continue to rise at a meteoric pace in China, crematoriums throughout the country are getting packed and people are forced to wait for hours to get their loved ones cremated. CNN reported that social media posts have described the frustration faced by many people in trying to find a hearse and the difficulty of occupying a slot for cremation at a funeral house. China's state media is deliberately ignoring the scenes of crowded hospital wards and packed crematoriums. Chinese officials have said that only a few people are dying due to COVID-19 as per the government's own tally. Citing social media footage, the report said that crematoriums in many parts of China are struggling to keep up with an influx of bodies. CNN reported that, facing growing skepticism that is downplaying COVID deaths, the Chinese government defended the accuracy of its official tally by revealing it had updated its method of counting fatalities caused by the virus. According to the latest guidelines from the National Health Commission, only those whose death is caused by pneumonia and respiratory failure after getting infected with COVID-19 are considered as COVID deaths, said a top infectious disease doctor. Taliban authorities have ordered a nationwide ban on university education for females in Afghanistan. The hardline Islamists continue to crush Afghan women's right to education and freedom despite promising a softer rule when they seized power last year 2021. A spokesman for Afghan Education Ministry said The decision was taken at a cabinet meeting and order will go into effect immediately. The ban on higher education comes less than 3 months after thousands of girls and women sat university entrance exams across the country, with many aspiring to choose teaching and medicine as future careers. The announcement by the Taliban administration came as the United Nations Security Council met in New York on Afghanistan. US and British envoys to the United Nations in New York condemned the move. UN spokesman Stephen Dujarric said the move is clearly another broken promise from the Taliban. India on Thursday wrapped up its December presidency of the United Nations Security Council (UNSC) with a special focus on terrorism, global south and maritime security. Addressing the last scheduled meeting of UNSC of the year and India's term at the council, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, said that India did not hesitate to raise its voice against the common enemy of humanity, such as terrorism. On India's aim at UNSC, Kamboj said that when New Delhi entered the council 2 years ago, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said, India will use the prestige and the experience of being the largest democracy in the world for the benefit of the whole world. She further said that during the last 2 years, India spoke out in support of peace, security, and prosperity. Highlighting issues of particular importance to the developing world, she said India reiterated and reinforced its commitment to the basic principles of multilateralism, rule of law, and a fair and equitable international system. India's UNSC non permanent membership comes to a close on December 31st. Ireland, Kenya, Mexico, and Norway to the UN also addressed the wrap up session as they too would exit the UNSC after 2 years' term. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has returned to Kyiv after visiting US and Poland. In a brief evening address on Thursday while en route home, he expressed satisfaction with his visit to Washington. He thanked US President Biden for his help and his international leadership. Before returning to Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky stopped off in Poland, where he met for 2 hours with the Polish President Andrzej Duda near the airport in the southeastern city Rzeszów. Rzeszów is a major transit point for Western weapons flowing into neighboring Ukraine and for refugees fleeing Ukraine into Poland. Mr. Duda, in a tweet message, said that two leaders had discussed strategic plans for actions and cooperation in the upcoming 2023. Russian President Vladimir Putin's spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that Mr. Zelensky's visit to Washington suggests that the United States is continuing its line of de facto fighting an indirect war with Russia. Taliban regime in Afghanistan has ordered all local and foreign NGOs to stop female employees from working. The United Nations said that this move will aid humanitarian operations in Afghanistan. The Taliban led Ministry of Economy said that female employees of non governmental organizations were not allowed to work until further notice because some had not adhered to the administration's interpretation of Islamic dress code for women. It comes days after the administration ordered universities to close to women, prompting global condemnation and sparking some protest and heavy criticism inside Afghanistan. Both decisions are the latest restrictions on women that are likely to undermine Taliban's efforts to gain international recognition and clear sanctions that are severely hammering the economy. Elon Musk will step down as the Twitter CEO. In a tweet, Musk said he will quit after finding a replacement. Maldives achieved the target of 1.6 million tourists it's set for 2022. The archipelago nation saw interest by tourists despite the worldwide spread of Omicron variant of COVID in the first 2 months of the year. US President nominates Indian American Richard Verma to top diplomatic position in State Department. India and Bangladesh agree to soon start discussion on comprehensive economic partnership agreement. In North America, millions of people are facing Christmas without power as a week-long deadly winter storm continued to affect a large portion of the US and Canada, bringing heavy snow, freezing rain, flooding and raising the death toll.